Welcome to Federal Finance CPE, where we provide federal finance and accounting focused continuing professional education. I'm Rob, a Virginia CPA who is tired of CPE that is dry, sleep-inducing, and in person, or is a webinar that you have to take during your lunch break. So I decided to do something about it and create CPE worth doing online on your own time. Engaging, flexible CPE focused on federal accounting and finance. No more schedule juggling or zoning out. Our courses are designed to fit your life and energize you. Ready to transform your CPE experience? Let's dive into federal finance like never before, on your own terms and time. Your journey to more enjoyable and effective professional education starts now. Today we're cracking the code on U.S. Treasury Account Symbols. Hidden in plain sight, these keys can keep you out of hot water if you know what you're looking for. Did you ever think a simple string of numbers could unlock a story behind government spending? Stick around as we unravel a real-life case study that's out of this world. By the time we wrap up today, you'll not just know what Treasury Account Symbols are, you'll understand their role and significance. We'll demystify the three components of these symbols and provide tips on using this knowledge to stay Anti-Deficiency Act compliance. Last, I'll guide you to the resources where you can always find an up-to-date, comprehensive list of these symbols. Think of this as your GPS for navigating federal financial funds. Let's break down Treasury Account Symbols using something we're all familiar with, personal budgeting. Imagine you're using the envelope method to manage your household finances. You have different envelopes for various expenses, one for rent, one for vacation, and one for an emergency fund. Each envelope represents a specific purpose and contains money allocated for that purpose. Now let's say you label these envelopes with a code. The code might be something like HOM-2023-rent. In this code, HOM represents your family, your home. 2023 is the year you're budgeting for. And rent is the specific purpose of this fund. This is essentially how Treasury Account Symbols work. They provide the agency ID, they provide the period of availability, and they provide a main account. They're like labels on the government's financial envelopes. For example, a Treasury Account Symbol might look like this: 020-2024-0128. The 020 tells us it's the U.S. Treasury's envelope. 2024 shows us it's for the 2024 fiscal year. And 0128 indicates it's for the Office of Financial Stability. Just like you can't use money from your rent envelope to buy plane tickets to Florida, the government can't use funds designated for one purpose for something else. And just as you might have envelopes for different time periods, the government has funds available for different fiscal years. So next time you see a Treasury Account Symbol, think of it as a sophisticated version of writing Rent-June 2023 on an envelope in your personal budget system. It's all about keeping funds organized and used for their intended purpose when they're intended to be used. Now that we understand the purpose of a Treasury Account Symbol, let's dive into its structure. A Treasury Account Symbol comprises three distinct parts, each playing a crucial role in the financial narrative of government funds. We'll explore these elements to reveal how they collectively inform us who can use them, when they can be used, and what they can be used for. Importantly, you'll see how being knowledgeable about Treasury Account Symbols is not just good accounting. It's also about staying within the law and off the Government Accountability Office list of Anti-Deficiency Act violations for the year. Anti-Deficiency Act violations occur when you use federal funds for a purpose that Congress did not intend. Understanding Treasury account symbols can be your safeguard against inadvertent misuse of funds, which is essential for anyone working in the federal government. Treasury account symbols are like DNA for federal funding. Just as DNA provides the instruction for life, and if we have blue eyes or brown hair, each Treasury account symbol uniquely identifies a strand of federal funding. These unique identifiers are structured into 3 fundamental components, detailing who gets the fund, when the funds are available, and what the funds are for. Understanding each element of the Treasury account symbol helps ensures transparency and accountability when accounting for and managing federal money. As mentioned before, a Treasury account symbol has 3 parts. First, we have the 3-digit agency ID. Think of this as a family name in our DNA analogy. It identifies the federal entity, the who, in our story of government accounting. Just like your last name connects you to your family, this number connects the funds to the agency. Next, we have the period of availability. This part shows you the when. It is akin to an expiration date of a milk carton, telling us how long the fund can be used. Some funds must be spent in a year, others have a few years, and some, like a box of Twinkies, never expire. It's crucial to ensure money is used only within its designated time frame. If not, you could be found anti-deficient and be breaking the law. Lastly, the main account reveals the why, the fund's purpose. Imagine this as a scope of a contract. It gives us insight to what the funds are meant to accomplish, whether building roads, funding schools, or ensuring national security. So looking at Treasury account symbols, you can see more than just numbers. You're seeing a story of purpose, timing, and responsibility. It's a snapshot of how our government plans and tracks public spending, ensuring every dollar serves its intended role in shaping our nation. The first part of the Treasury account symbol is the agency ID. This 3-digit number is like the family name for federal agencies, pinpointing who the funds are destined for. But it's more complex than you might think. Only some federal entities boast their own agency ID. Instead, some are grouped under a broader departmental umbrella, much like individual branches within the family. Let's take the Marine Corps, for example. You might expect it to have its own agency ID, yet it falls under the Navy's code 017. This illustrates how some entities are nested within larger departments, reflecting the federal government's organizational structure. To give you a clearer picture, let's take a look at a few examples. Agency ID number 000 represents the Senate, which is in the legislative branch. Agency ID number 010 is for the judiciary, marking another distinct branch of our government. And for a slice of the executive branch, 089 is the Department of Energy. Thus, we highlight the diversity and range of our governmental body. With over 150 agency IDs currently available, this system underscores the vast network of the federal enterprise, each agency playing a unique role in the governance and administration of public resources. It's a fascinating glimpse into the complexity and order of how our government operates, ensuring that funds reach the right hands for their intended purpose. The period of availability is the next key feature of the Treasury account symbol, acting as a financial timeline that dictates when funds can be utilized. Congress, keen on maintaining a tight rein on government spending, leverages this timeline through 3 distinct categories. First, we have 1-year or annual funds, represented by just a single fiscal year. For example, 2022. These are the sprinters of federal funds, as they have just 1 year to use. One typical example is an appropriation for an agency's salaries. Next, we have multi-year funds, represented by the first and last year of availability, such as 2022 to 2024, a 3-year multi-year fund. These are the 10K runners in the world of government accounting and finance. Multi-year funds are designed to support programs and projects spanning a few years, whether it's constructing a sprawling new highway system or rolling out a comprehensive nationwide healthcare initiative. These funds are earmarked for endeavors that require more time and patience to complete. Lastly, we encounter the Know Your funds, represented with an X. The Forrest Gumps of the government spending. Unconstrained by fiscal years, these funds continue until they run out of money or the purpose they are created for no longer exists. By categorizing funds this way, Congress ensures a balanced approach to managing the nation's budget, aligning financial resources with strategic objectives and timelines. Using governmental funds as Congress intended is crucial, and a big part of that is understanding the period of availability. This timeline determines when funds can be used. Think of this as the expiration date of a food item. Using it correctly ensures safety and compliance, but ignoring it can lead to trouble. Let's break this down into 3 crucial statuses, making it as simple as checking your food labels before making dinner. First, unexpired funds. These are the fresh, off-the-shelf, ready-to-be-used funds. Like groceries you've bought recently, these funds are within their period of availability and can be freely obligated and expended. For instance, an annual fund for 2022 is only unexpired within that fiscal year, similar to milk with an expiration date of later this month, which is good to be used but only for a short time. Multi-year funds, say a fund for 2022 to 2023, stay unexpired across both fiscal years. It's akin to canned goods that could last several seasons. And Know Your funds? Well, they're non-perishable, always ready to be used. Next, we have expired funds as a status. Imagine finding a can in the back of your pantry, past its best before date, but not yet harmful. These funds are past their period of availability. We cannot initiate new projects with them, but we can still use them to pay off obligations we've already made. An annual fund from 2022 enters this phase for the next 5 years, from 2023 to 2027. The final category is a canceled fund. This is the spoiled food of government funding. After a 5-year expiration period concludes, the funds are off limits from obligation and expenditure. Continuing our analogy, if expired funds are like canned goods that are past their best before date, canceled funds are like spoiled milk, no longer safe to use. Suppose you try to use funds in this category. In that case, you're risking a violation of the Anti-Deficiency Act, which is essentially the government's way of saying you've misused federal money, akin to getting food poisoning for ignoring safety labels. This is because Congress, with that fund, told you when you could no longer use it by setting a period of availability. Understanding these statuses isn't just about compliance, it's about ensuring that every dollar is used legally. So remember to check the expiration date on your funds, keeping your spending safe, sound, and within the law. Let's take a moment to provide some real examples of Treasury account symbols and see if you can determine the current status of each fund. We are currently in fiscal year 2024 for these exercises. So let's use the following Treasury account symbol, 028-2024/2025-0004. This fund is for the Social Security Administration Office of Inspector General. Can you determine the period of availability? For another exercise, look at the following Treasury account symbol, 069-2022 1401. This is the Department of Transportation, Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration, Hazardous Materials Safety. Can you determine the period of availability? Our last example will be the following Treasury Account Symbol: 047X4542. This is for the General Service Administration Real Property Activities. Can you determine the period of availability? The final piece of the Treasury Account Symbol puzzle is the main account number. This number isn't just a sequence of digits. It's a direct line to understanding what the funds are specifically earmarked for, be it U.S. foreign aid, support for firefighters, research grants, or the preservation of national parks. Think of it as the title of a book, giving you a clear idea of the story or content inside. However, interpreting these numbers isn't always straightforward. The main account number's purpose can vary wildly from one agency to another, underscoring the federal government's diverse range of responsibilities and initiatives. For instance, the main account number 0101 carries distinct meanings across different agencies. For the Senate, it's related to travel expenses, specifically the mileage reimbursements for the Vice President and Senators. At the American Battle Monuments Commission, the same number reflects funds allocated for managing foreign currency fluctuations. For the National Endowment for the Arts, 0101 signifies the Arts and Artifact Indemnity Fund. This illustrates why, when deciphering the purpose of a main account, one should not jump to conclusions based on the number alone. Always verify by looking up the specific agency's account to understand the fund's intended use. Having navigated the Treasury Account Symbol makeup, it's time to contextualize our knowledge with real-world examples. These will illustrate how the Treasury Account Symbol components, the agency ID, period of availability, and main account number combine to create a complete picture of federal funding and its designated uses. To see the Treasury Account Symbols at work, let's dive into these particular examples. For our first example, we have the Treasury Account Symbol 012-X-4336. Each Treasury Account Symbol is a unique identifier providing critical funding information. Let's start with our example's agency ID, 012. This 3-digit number is like the last name, telling us which federal family these funds belong to. Moving to the center, we see X, representing the period of availability. Last, we have the main account number, 4336. This part of the Treasury Account Symbol tells us the fund's purpose. So, this symbol represents a Know Your Fund for the Department of Agriculture's Commodity Credit Corporation. Our following example is Agency ID 013, period of availability 2023, and main account number 1250. This symbol pertains to the International Trade Administration, part of the Department of Commerce. It's a 2023 annual fund for operations and administration. The last example we have is 091-2022/2023-0200. Here, 091 is the agency ID, 2022/2023 is the period of availability, and 0200 is the account number. This symbol is for the Department of Education's Student Financial Assistance for years 2022 to 2023. Let's take a moment to address a crucial question. Where exactly can you find these Treasury Account Symbols? Luckily, the Department of Treasury Bureau of Fiscal Service creates and maintains a detailed listing known as the Federal Account Symbols and Titles, the FAST Book. This resource is the official directory of the Treasury Account Symbols used by the federal government. Some symbols in the FAST Book may look a little dated, and I'm looking at you, Department of Defense 1995 Special Olympics World Games Fund, But the FAST book is the authority on Treasury account symbols. It's an invaluable tool for anybody navigating the complex world of federal finances. Recognizing the need for accessibility and user-friendliness, the Treasury Department has recently made this information more accessible by providing the FAST book in an Excel file. This is a significant improvement over the previous PDF format, allowing for easier data searching, sorting, and analyzing. Whether you're a federal employee, a contractor, a researcher, or a curious citizen, the FAST book is your go-to source for understanding and interpreting Treasury account symbols. Now that we've equipped ourselves with the essential tools to decipher Treasury account symbols, let's put our knowledge into practice. To do this, we will read a passage from an appropriation, a law that authorizes federal government funds. Our task is to trace this appropriation to its unique Treasury account symbol. To do this, we'll need to identify three elements: the federal agency for which the funds are intended, the period during which the funds can be used, and the specific purpose of the funds. We arrive at the Treasury account symbol corresponding to our appropriation by piecing these elements together. Are you ready to explore appropriation and blast off to our Treasury account symbol? Well, let's take off. We are going to look at the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2022. Here we have a section for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Under this section, we have a paragraph titled Exploration, which reads as follows: for necessary expenses not otherwise provided for in the conduct and support of exploration, research and development activities, including research, development, operations, support and services, maintenance and repair, facility planning and design, spaceflight, spacecraft control and communication activities, program management, personnel and related costs, including uniforms or allowances, therefore, as authorized by Sections 5901 and 5902 of Title V, United States Code, travel expenses, purchase and hire of passenger motor vehicles, and purchase, lease, charter, maintenance, and operation of mission and administrative aircraft, $6,791,700,000 to remain available until September 30th, 2023. Our first mission objective is to lock onto the agency ID. With NASA in control of this appropriation, they are the North Star for us, providing direction to the agency ID we are searching for. Next, we'll chart the period of availability. This fiscal adventure begins in 2022 and doesn't dock until September 30th, 2023. This timeline signals that we're dealing with a multi-year fund capable of fueling NASA's ambitions across 2 fiscal years. The final frontier is the main account. To pinpoint this, we need to engage with the purpose of the funds, which under the title Exploration guides us to the appropriate section in the FAST book. And keep that total appropriation amount, the $6,791,700,000, in your command module's memory banks. This figure is a significant part of the narrative we're charting, and it gives us scale to our mission and impact of our funds. By consolidating this information, we will arrive at the Treasury account symbol representing the appropriation for NASA. It's a journey from legal text to fiscal code, from appropriation acts to Treasury symbols. So, crew, prepare for a deep dive into the FAST book. Our mission to discover NASA's Treasury account symbol is about to commence. Now take a moment and filter the FAST book Excel file to see what you find and what you think the Treasury account symbol should be. With the celestial clues gathered from the appropriation language, we've navigated our way to the potential Treasury account symbol for NASA's exploratory endeavors. But as any space traveler knows, confirming our trajectory is essential. Here's the Treasury account symbol we've compiled. The agency ID 080. The unique identifier assigned to NASA. The period of availability, 2022/2023, indicating a multi-year fund allowing NASA to continue this mission across fiscal years. Main account number, 0124, discovered by homing in on the exploration section, guiding us to the fund's purpose. But before we declare mission success, let's perform a cross-check with an apportionment schedule provided by the Office of Management and Budget. This document is like our mission control. It gives us the all clear that our funds are correctly aligned with the government ledger. By comparing our Treasury account symbol with this official record, we can ensure that every digit is in its proper place, every allocation is precise, and our budgetary spacecraft is ready for a successful mission. Prepare to launch with the OMB apportionment schedule and verify our findings. If everything aligns, we will have successfully translated legal jargon into a clear financial directive for NASA's journey into the unknown. Engage your analytical engine and let's proceed to verification. With our trusty appropriation language as a guide and the Fastbook as our star chart, we've successfully navigated the financial cosmos to uncover NASA's Treasury Account Symbol. We've decoded the symbol and the message is clear. The agency ID for NASA beams in with 080. Our period of availability for this journey through fiscal years is 2022/2023, marking a multi-year mission timeline. With exploration as our mission directive, we've locked into the main account number, 0124. Let's align our finding with the apportionment schedule from Office of Management and Budget. We spot a Treasury account symbol on the official document that closely mirrors our calculations. It's marked with agency ID 80, which is for NASA. It has a main account number of 0124 for deep space exploration and confirms the period of availability as 2022/2023. What's more is the apportionment schedule resonates with the appropriation amount outlined in the language of the law, $6,791,700,000. So let's give ourselves a round of zero gravity applause. Mission accomplished, team. We've located the Treasury account symbol and verified it against the official apportionment schedule, proving that our fiscal tracking skills are out of this world. In conclusion, every Treasury account symbol and number tells a story. You're now better equipped to read and understand those stories. You should be able to clearly identify the purpose of a Treasury account symbol and its three parts: the agency ID, period of availability, and main account. You should recall where you can find the most current Treasury account symbols listing in the U.S. Treasury Fastbook. Thank you for joining me today with Federal Finance CPE. Remember, understanding Treasury account symbol isn't just about numbers. It's about unlocking our government's financial narrative and ensuring every dollar serves its intended purpose. I'd love to hear your thoughts on today's session. Did this explanation help clarify Treasury account symbols for you? Please take a moment to fill out our feedback form or leave a comment. Federal Finance CPE is brought to you by Persons Consulting, a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business. We're committed to providing online CPE that you can consume anywhere, anytime, fitting seamlessly into your busy schedule. Our goal is to empower professionals like you with the knowledge and skills needed to excel in the federal finance and accounting world, all at your own pace. Until next time, keep your fiscal sensors sharp and your accounting skills ready for any financial frontier. And remember, with Federal Finance CPE, your next learning opportunity is just a click away, whenever and wherever you're ready.